So here we go. Let's continue. Maelstrom requires our assistance. Concerning the kobolds they sent us copious notes on, I presume? Yes and no. It has more to do with their findings, which portend a peril far greater than any beast tribe. What sort of peril? The worst kind. A tribe of kobolds in the vicinity of Limsa Lominsa has reawakened Titan. Our task will be to slay the primal. The Maelstrom have sworn support for the endeavor. They are no strangers to the havoc kobolds can wreak. Years before the Grand Company's reformation, true primals, Leviathan and Titan, chanced to converge upon the seawall, wreaking untold devastation. There, by the grace of the Navigator, were the mercenaries Merwolf hired able to fend them off. Yet it did not take long for the beast tribes to regroup, and they summoned their primals once more. Thankfully, their second coming was decidedly short-lived. But that is beside the point. So long as tormented souls will them to exist, the realm will never be rid of primals. The Maelstrom has kept a watchful eye upon the beast tribes, and the kobolds in particular, ever since. Which brings us to the matter at hand. Unlike Ifrit, we know scarcely anything of Titan. Unfortunately, the only force known to have bested him, the modestly named Company of Heroes, disbanded 5 years since, and mercenaries are not in the habit of keeping chronicles. Expect the worst. A Maelstrom's help is of course appreciated, but even if we had their whole armada at our disposal, we could still find ourselves overmatched. A pity the kobolds lack the gentle sensibilities of the sylphs. A peaceful resolution would be more than welcome. The echo will not avail you this time, I fear. If you are to survive, your steel must needs speak for you. No one would think you a coward were you to decline. Nuh-uh. So, you will accept? Yes. Thank you. We can't very well send him to Limsa Lominsa without Y'shtola, can we, Mitrelia? May I ask that of you, Y'shtola? I never thought it in question. Ever reliable. Very well. We will spare no effort to win victory. You may count on the full support of the Scions of the Seventh Dawn, and all not afield will aid the fights from afar. Thancred, Ida, go to the Grand Companies, tell them of our plight, and solicit their support. Orianger, send word to the students of Baldesion, and Alfinaud, if you would. Yes, ma'am. Papalumo, compile all the information we have on Titan, little though it may be. Aye. You'll be apprised of the tactical situation when you reach the sailor's ward. Provision yourself for the journey. May you walk in the light of the crystal. Hail, adventure! and welcome to Maelstrom Command. If you wish to know more about enlisting, speak with the personnel officer. Unless you are the guest we were told to expect. Aha. Forgive me, sir. To business, then. It is as we told the antecedent. The kobolds have once again summoned Titan. A little over a moon ago, we began to observe the beastmen moving south in increasing numbers from Hugomoro. Our scouts subsequently confirmed the object of their aggression, crystals, fodder for their fell primal. We meet again. Thank you, High Commander. You may leave the rest to me. Word has spread of your accomplishments, Enio. On behalf of Limsa, I thank you for heeding our call. Forgive the lack of forewarning, High Commander. The Admiral wished to address Enio personally. We are no strangers to conflict. Long have the Sahagin and the kobolds plagued our people, nor is this the first time we have had to address a primal threat. In the past, when the Titan rose to threaten the peace, it was to the company of heroes we turned. But they are long disbanded, and we must look to other brave souls blessed with the strength to face this foe. So it is that we turn now to the signs of the seventh dawn, confident in the belief that you are Limsa's best hope. I hope you are right, yet the situation is far from simple. The kobolds are not prone to unprovoked aggression. Did not the Tahalocracy make a pact with the beastmen that each would keep to their own lands, and that no blood would be shed? And was it not the Leminsans who violated this agreement? Dissatisfied with the lot, shall we then condemn the beastmen for defending their homes? Even a pirate must one day reap what she has sown. I would advise you to choose your words with greater care, Lady Stola. Stand down, High Commander. She has the right of it. And the wrong is mine. Freely do I claim it, yet it makes little difference. Remorse will not shield us from Titan's wrath. Or would you have us fall upon our swords? My apologies, Admiral. The safety and security of Lim's elements and citizenry are, of course, of paramount concern. Already, we have observed disruptions in the flow of aether further inland. The effects will be felt here in the city year long. I ask much of you, I know, but the need is great. Can I count on your help, Enio? Yes. You have my thanks, along with the full support of the Maelstrom. I await good tidings. That the kobolds should summon Titan demonstrates they are no longer amenable to negotiation. This being the case, we must needs prepare for conflict. Before we meet Titan in the field, however, it would be wise to learn all we can of our foe. And I can think of no better source for information than the mercenaries who defeated him once before. The company of heroes may be no more, but several of its former members still live. It is said that one of them is employed at the Great Fleet Mills in Lower Lanosia. Quite why a mercenary should choose to become a miller, I do not know. When you find him, mayhap you could ask him for me. I, meanwhile, shall seek his fellows. Ain't a pint with me, we'll have a grand old time, fun ye lass or three. You gonna say something, Venture? Or just keep staring, eh? You want to know about the company of heroes? Ah, hells. Price of breeding fame. Can't a miller mail in peace no more? Still, seeing as you've come all this way, I suppose it wouldn't hurt you to oblige ye. Consider yourself lucky, mate. Old Trachtoum was the company's beast axeman. Now, what was it you wanted to know? So, ye want to hear the tale of how the company of heroes bested the primal, do ye? Let me guess. You mean that bastard Titus, eh? Oh, if only you'd been there to see it. 'Twas a mighty struggle, like the legends of old. Me and the boys fought him for 3 days and nights, we did. The ground trembled with every step Titus took, and when he hit you, boy, it felt like a cannonball to the gut. Oh, just like that. Oi, what is that look for? I'm a goddamn hero. I'll have you know, the people around here sing me praises. Don't tell me ye only care about learning the secret tactics we used to beat old Titus. Well, too bad, 'cause now I'm not feeling charitable. If you're so damn desperate, then why don't you do me a favor and kill those rats that we've made a nest by the windmill just south of here? Aye, do that. Then we'll talk. Just like that. Hey, so the beasties are dead, are they? Nice work, venturer. Save me the hassle of... never mind. What? You still asking about how we beat Titus? I don't know, venturer. It was a pretty risky strategy. The kind only a veteran of 10 score battles could rely upon. I want to teach ye, I really do. But unless you prove you have what it takes to face that fat bastard, I can't in good conscience tell you a damn thing. At the very least, that you'd need to be capable of slaying, say, a gubu. Come to think of it, that ain't a bad idea. Them creatures have a taste for the flour milled here, so ye ought to have no trouble finding one in the vicinity. Course, I ain't asking ye to cut one down quick as a skilled skaxman like myself. Any road, wouldn't ye try heading due west and standing out lookout in case a gubu comes calling? Slay it, and I might consider telling you more about old Titus. Almost gotcha. Any more? You again? Then that good boy that was harassing the millers is dead? Didn't think he had it in ye, venturer. Still, you took forever and day to get the job done. I'm still not sure if I should tell you our secrets. So, as I was saying, I still don't know if you've got what it takes to face Titus. Maybe if you slew, Trachtoum, you in here drinking again? If you are, that Google had better be dead. Oh, it's dead, Chief. You have me word on that. Cleave the beast's skull in two with me trusty axe, I did. Is that a fact? And what will your friend here say if I ask him? He vouch for me, of course. Ain't that right, friend? Tell me true. Was it Trachtoum who slew that gooboy, or was it you? Chief, what are you saying? It's me, Trachtoum, the finest axeman ever to serve in the company of heroes. The legendary mercenaries who slew that bastard Titus. Titus? Titus? Who in the seven hells is Titus? Some primal you fought in a drink sudden dream? The company of heroes slew Titan. You bloody half-wit. Well, see, Titus was what me and the lads used to call him. That's the biggest load of Sahiggin shite I've ever heard. Both of you, outside. We'll learn the truth the Leminzen way. Trachtoum, if you didn't slay that Gobwe, you may consider your contract revoked. I like that facial expression. Not much. Yeah. Oh, I avoided that. It's a good thing I'm paying attention. Alright. I admit it. I lied about being in the company of heroes. But I'm begging ya, Chief. Please don't dismiss me. I've learned me lesson. Honest, I have. Save your blubbering, Trachtoum. Gods, I should have known. Mercy, please. I didn't want to deceive ye, I swear. It's just that I kept getting turned away all by all the folk I asked for work, and I panicked. See, the last job I had was at Costa del Sol, and there was this grizzled marauder everyone treated like royalty. When I heard he was a captain in the company of heroes, I finally understood why. I wasn't being serious when I said I was one of them. But you went and believed me, so look, his name was Wheiskaet, alright? Wheiskaet. He'll tell ye how to defeat Titus, or whatever the hell's that thing's name is. That's what you wanted, ain't it? So come on then. Tell the chief to forgive me. It's only fair. Pardon? You wish to slay the Lord of Crags? We must slay him, Captain. The people of Limbs of Leminzen are depending upon us. You fancy yourselves heroes, then, just like in the tales? Be not so quick to judge. Long have I labored for the well-being of you and yours, and my associate here has bathed in Ifrit's hellfire and lived. He is blessed with power that protects him from primal influence. Thus was he able to lay low the Lord of the Inferno. We know full well the risk, and have taken every possible precaution. We lack only the knowledge of how to enter Titan's lair. Pray be so good as to grant us the boon of your wisdom, and we shall be on our way. A man who can't be tempered? Useful, but it will not be enough. It is true that the company of heroes fought and felled primals, but each victory was bought with the lifeblood of brave men and women. And Titan was the worst we faced. Aye, we defeated him in the end, but he took from us some of our very best. Even if you possess the power you claim, I have no reason to believe you will succeed. Believe what you will, we mean to try. Though our lives be forfeit, we will not abandon Limsa to the wrath of Titan. You are passionate, I'll grant you that. And you deserve better than the greeting I gave you. But I will not send you into Ogomor on a whim. To be plain, I do not wish to see you give your lives in vain. At the very least, I must have assurances that you are more than common adventurers. I oversee security for Master Jijiru's estates. Perhaps you can demonstrate your abilities by attending to one of our... Ye gods, man, have you heard nothing I have said? We have not the time to perform trivial tasks. The enemy is at the gates. Do you imagine words can sway me, girl? If you dislike my conditions, then you are welcome to find your own way into Gohogomoro. Though it pains me to admit it, I fear we have no choice but to acquiesce to the man's demands. Yet much remains to be done if we are to best Titan. Forgive me, but I must ask you to undertake this task alone. I will use the time to see to the remaining preparations. Leaving the dirty work to others, are we? Very well. Pray do whatever the good captain bids. However trifling, remember, the fate of Laminza hangs in the balance. Master Gijiro's request can be more demanding than you realize. Before I set you to your true task, I would like to verify that this won't be a waste of my time. A Nyx has recently been seen prowling to the beach to the east. As you can imagine, my master does not want large slimy creatures anywhere near his lands. The beast is cunning, but you should have no difficulty luring it out with hearing. Slay the Nyx and return to me. Oh, and don't forget to bring me a leg as proof of the kill. Just like that. Well, did you deal with the Nyx? Lest you think me overly cautious for testing you in this way. You should know that we had an incident not long ago. A foolish young employee was dismissed for lying about his past. He claimed to have served in the company of heroes, but I knew for a fact he did not. Anyway, now the pointless busy work is finished, I shall give you a challenge as befits your talents. Two highly distinguished individuals are scheduled to visit Costa del Sol in the near future, and Master Jijiruju wishes to welcome them with an elaborate banquet. But while money is no object, not everything Master Jijiro desires can be so easily purchased. It is to be an extremely exotic feast, and so, your mission is to seek out and obtain the rare ingredients our chef requires. Naturally, such fine dining must be accompanied with a suitable wine, and by suitable, I mean the very best there is. That, however, can wait for the time being, as I believe you have enough on your plate as it is. It will be a long and arduous journey, but you need not toil. You need not toil alone. Many of the mercenaries who once served under my command still live, and they will guide you in your quest. For the first ingredient, I would have you travel to the South Strat and speak with Lendinil at Camp Tranquil. What? Do you mean to tell me that you can't afford to waste time, as your associate did? Adventurer, if you have not the endurance to complete this mission, how do you expect me to believe you can outlast the Lord of Crags? Either do it or don't. I have work to do. Do you require assistance, adventurer? So, this is the one who would challenge Titan. I've been expecting you, Enio. The ingredient you seek is the egg of a giant adamantuous. The method of acquisition should be obvious. You steal it from the beast's nest, of course. Simple in theory, but difficult in execution. Most who try die in the attempt. Will I help you get it? You amuse me. I will not jeopardize my position by openly assisting you. From me, you will receive only information. What you do with it is your choice. Let me be clear. This business between you and me, the captain must remain a secret. See, I don't regret my time spent with the company in the slightest. Traveling the world, meeting interesting people, killing them. It was all jolly good fun. Alas, Grenadians are, by and large, an unforgiving lot, the toe here being a rare exception. I've had to go to great lengths to ensure that I'm seen as a model citizen, with no taste for drinking, whoring, gambling, and all those other activities I so dearly miss. So, understand that if you ruin my little charade by wagging your tongue, I'll fashion a noose with your entrails and hang you from the nearest heaven's pillar. Well, what are you waiting for? There's a perfect good anamantuous egg in the nest to the east of here, just ripe for the taking. Not that I expect you to live long enough to claim it. The mother never strays far from the child, and you will surely be attacked the moment you lay hands upon the egg. There will be other heroes, Enio. You do not need to challenge Titan. Abandon your quest, or your corpse will rot in this swamp. That's it. Lay hands. I thought you might have the good sense to leave this place. By your continued presence, I take it you intend to persevere to the bitter end? Such bravery, such recklessness. That will serve you well against Titan. Leave the egg with me. I'll see that it gets to the captain. You should make haste to southern Thanalan. In Forgotten Springs, you will find a man named Odono. He will be your next guide. Safe travels, Enio. That's your business, adventurer. So this is the one Wheiskaet sends me. I haven't the foggiest what he sees in you. And until I do, you will receive no aid from me. Persistent bugger. Very well. Let's have a look at you. You've seen your share of battle. There is no mistaking that. And you did manage to obtain that adamantuous egg. However, that was not more than a display of brute force and blind courage. Dunn I once fought also believed that his strength would save him. He was wrong, and now I am Nunh. Many years ago, I joined the company of heroes to hone my skills instead of challenging my predecessor before I was ready. Even when I was young, I understood that victory goes to the patient, the cunning, the pragmatic. That is why I claimed my position, and that is why I still hold it. And it is why I will not help an unproven whelp. The children of the sands do not offer aid to strangers. To do so is a sign of weakness. However, if you were recognized as a skilled hunter in your own right, it would be permissible to assist you. Across the desert to the east lies an Amalja encampment. There dwells a warrior renowned both for his strength and his guile. To even face his Amalja in battle, you must find a way to lure him away from the encampment. This will be your test to draw out and defeat the veteran. For this, I will offer you no advice, only this worn spear. Why, you ask? You will have to solve that riddle yourself. Now go, slay this old warrior and bring to me his necklace. Kill it. Yeah, that was easy. Tell me, adventurer, is our old nemesis dead? 'Tis a fine necklace, as befits a veteran of countless battles. It will make an excellent trophy. The spear? It belonged to one of his brothers. I knew when he spied it from afar, he would be unable to resist venturing outside the encampment to see for himself. Did you discern my intent, or was it dumb luck, I wonder? Either way, you impress me, adventurer. I shall tell you of the ingredient you seek. A shame we did not meet when I was still with the company of heroes. You should have made a fine recruit. But no point dwelling on what cannot be. You have a Wheiskaet worm to hunt. Sandworms slither brazenly across the desert dunes, but Wheiskaet worms are far fewer in number. Rarity breeds demand, and so their meat is highly prized as a delicacy. The only way to catch your quarry is to entice it with something it cannot resist. These worms prey on the smaller creatures of the Sagili. A freshly slaughtered angler carcass would be my choice of bait. There is an area teeming with ganglers to the east. I will mark it upon your map, along with the location where whale-wick worms are most frequently sighted. Be warned, the blood will drive the worm into a feeding frenzy. If your skills are lacking, it will devour you as well. There we go. You look well. Have you caught your quarry, then? Your skills as a hunter rival those of our best. I applaud your success, Enio. The meat will need to be heavily smoked before I ship it to Wheiskaet. Worry not, you have my word that he will receive it in time for the banquet. You must be eager to obtain the third ingredient. I regret to say I know not of its location. For the nuns, you should return to Costa del Sol and seek Wheiskaet's counsel. Ah, but hold a moment. Since you'll be meeting the captain again soon, there is something I would like you to deliver to him for me. The captain was always fond of this brandy wine. I would be grateful if you could deliver it on my behalf. I was a reckless, angry youth when I first joined the company, and he would have been well within his rights to cast me out. Everything I have I owe to his wisdom and generosity. Wheiskaet was a firm yet fair teacher, an expert molder of men, and I suspect that it is still the case now. Please give him my regards, Enio. Well met, Enio. Landilano don't know about speak poke highly of you. What brings you here today? Ah, my favorite. I shall have to thank the nun personally. Now, you have about one ingredient left. Fortunately, you will not have to travel to Aldenar this time to obtain it. Truth be told, I never intended for you to collect this last ingredient. Brayflox, my old quartermaster, wished to bring it to Costa del Sol herself. However, not long ago, she sent word that there's been some trouble at the Longstop and that the delivery would be delayed indefinitely. She told me nothing of the incident itself, but I fear the situation may be dire. Though I would like nothing more than to aid her myself, I have no choice but to turn to you and your allies. Make haste to Hidden Falls docks and speak with Ozun Nazun. He will direct you to the Raincatcher Galley, where Brayflox and her people have made their home. What's the hurry, venture? Something happening over at the Gobi settlement? I don't know why you're so eager to help a bunch of beastmen. But go and talk to the skipper over yonder. She'll ferry you to Raincatcher Galley. We're going to Raincatcher Galley. Are you coming along? Psh! Shka! Tongue flaps of Wheiskaet be reaching ears of Brave Fox. Uplander is come for tasty fresh gobby treats, yes? Quest prize of Uplander deep in Longstop. Flighty beasts chase Gobbyflock from homes. Gobbyflock needs godly Uplander give safety to Longstop with much handholding. Ooh, this looks nice. Nice. Okay, let's change this here. Use the high potion just in time. We almost got it. There we go. Got it, I think. That wasn't too bad. That's like that. Yeah. Yeah, Titan Life, thank you so much for coming in. You were the one who were playing with me in the dungeon, right? So yeah, it's a lot of fun. Skirk, Udley Uplander has tanks of Gobi flock. Flighty beast was tricksy foe, but Uplander outwitted with plans making. Uplander has godly head for fighty think. Bayflock's happy gives, tasty fresh, Gobi treats to clever Uplander. Cheesy stinky sweet, Gobi treat, special make with secret Gobi earths. No party complete without Gobi Gouda, Bayflock's every say. I gather you solved Brayflock's little problem? By the gods, that unholy stench! This is, definitely goblin cheese. Judging from the smell, this should be quite flavorful. How is it made? It's best you remain ignorant of such things. I still remember when I learned what kind of milk they use. Self, and it will make it white. Oh, there we go. That's it. Thank you, Titan. Oh, that was useful. Bravo, Enio. Thanks to you, our guest shall be honored with a marvelous banquet. But what good is an exotic feast without an equally exquisite aperitif? Luckily, I know just the person to ask. Make your way to Wyport and seek out Shamani Lohamani, another former member of the company. All you have to do is give him this order slip. He'll take care of the rest. Oh, and if you're wondering if this is merely a ploy to test your patience, I assure you I do actually need that wine. And while you're there, give Shamani Lamani my regards. Sweat, grime, and blood. I, Eureka Blood, an adventurer. Unless I am mistaken, what brings you to Wineport? An order? Let me guess. A request for the finest vintage I can muster. That paper smells of loam and perfume. Costa del Sol. And there's also the unmistakable odor of goblin cheese. Yes, Master Gigiruju would not settle for anything less than the best. Drisweiss and his crew must be quite busy preparing an exotic feast. Hence, his decision to rely on an adventurer. But perhaps you're confused. This display of deduction was not intended to impress you. When one loses his vision, he is forced to compensate in other ways. But you have no interest in my affairs. You wish only to discuss the wine, I suspect. Life can be so delightfully unpredictable. I always had a passion for wine, but it wasn't until I was forced to retire that I could pursue it as more than a mere hobby. It wouldn't have been possible if not for the savings I amassed during my time as a mercenary, of course. Say what you will about the nature of that work, none can deny that it pays well. But you grow impatient, and Wheiskaet must have his wine. Herein lies the problem. Nothing in my possession is of sufficient quality for this occasion. The best vintages in town are hoarded by a Burgeliant, who owns and operates the largest winery in Volbrand. Somehow, I doubt he will be receptive to your request. But given these circumstances, we must needs beg his assistance. What rank amateur bottled this wine? The impurities have rendered it nigh undrinkable. Dismissal is too good for the man responsible. You should be made to drink every drop of his polluted swill. What is it? I'm in the middle of an important discussion, and I do not care for interruptions. That neophyte venture bid you speak with me? Neither you nor your friend has the palate to appreciate the subtle qualities of my private stock. I would sooner serve you Gubu urine than sell you my worst vintage. Be gone from my sight. I take it he said no? Really? In those words? Well, I cannot say that I am surprised. There is a chance, however small, that another resident of Wineport can furnish us with a suitable wine. In fact, had you come several years ago, I guarantee this would not be a problem. Alas, the quality of our product has declined significantly in recent years. The only breeds cultivated these days are common lowland vines, which isn't to say that their grapes are of poor quality, only that we have known better. Long ago, the Vinerans of Wineport crossbred several species and produced a grape-bearing vine of never-before-seen quality. Bacchus grapes were once the pride of this town, as they were used to produce vintages which surpassed all others. This includes the most aromatic, the most complex, the most flavorful of all wines. The legendary Bacchus wines were born right here in Wineport. Pardon my enthusiasm. You see, I once had the privilege to sample that particular wine. It's a good thing you put that enthusiasm in there. I wasn't expecting the character to say that. Fun. Alright, let's see what Shamani has to say next. It was an otherworldly experience. In that moment, I felt as though I had tasted the nectar of the gods themselves. I transcended my mortal flesh and was one with all creation. But, as is all too often said, the calamity changed that. The Bacchus vineyards were completely destroyed, along with much of the existing stock of Bacchus wine. What little remains is closely guarded by its owners, for it can no longer be made. If we cannot convince Big Laurent to part with his wines, our next best option, as ridiculous as it sounds, is to find someone who has a bottle of Bacchus wine and to offer them every gill we can spare. I've heard rumors that one of the Vignerons tending the vineyards might have once owned a bottle. Perhaps you could start by speaking with them. Bacchus wine? Don't remind me. Used to have a cellar filled with the stuff. Thought I could keep wine safe from thieves and the elements. Never counted on a bloody primal blowing up my goddamn house. What? Do I have Bacchus wine? I wish. I never had the chance to try it myself. Sorry, friend, but you're a few years too late. No luck, Most regrettable. But we had to try. But Bacchus wine would have been perfect for the occasion. Though I must confess, my certitude could be due in part of my personal history with the beverage. It is, after all, the very reason I decided to become a vintner. After a Titan blighted me in our battle beneath Ogumoro, I fell into a deep depression. It wasn't until I tasted Bacchus wine for the first time that I realized there was still so much I could experience, even in my condition. It helped me to find a new direction in life. It breaks my heart to think that wondrous ambrosia, which once filled me with hope, may be forever lost to us. I must say, this talk of Bacchus wine has made me rather nostalgic. Indeed, there is much I miss about my life with the company of heroes. After everything the captain has done for me, I could not bear to disappoint him. I have no fear. I swear that I shall find a suitable wine for the banquet, though I may need some time to think of a solution. In the meantime, there is a favor I would ask of you. 2 years ago, in the deepest depths of my despair, I stumbled across Vilbrand as a vagabond drunk. I suspect I was looking for a place to die, because I very nearly found one not far from here. I was there that a man named Dress took me in and nursed me back to health. And it was he who gave me my first taste of Bacchus wine, which helped me to find my new ceiling. Though I am still a novice in the arts of winemaking, I would like him to know that I am pursuing my dream. This wine is my own original creation, and I would be most graceful if you delivered him to him in my stead. Dress sometimes works at the Raincatcher Gully docks, so perhaps Ritzkult can tell you where to find him. Dressed? Oh, you mean the hermit? I toss him a few gale when we need an extra pair of hands. He doesn't talk about himself, and I sure as hell don't ask. When a man's got a face with scars like that, you best leave well enough alone, I say. If you have a mind to find him, though, then head southwest to the severed string. What? What do you want? Wine? I didn't ask for this. Who sent you? I can't sleep. They won't let me sleep. The midges, the buzzing, it keeps me awake. I never wanted to hurt anyone. I won't fight. I don't want to fight. Please, make the buzzing stop. Make the midges go away. Yeah, it's not so loud anymore. Did you do that? Thank you. You helped me. Even after what my comrades and I did to your country. We were on our reconnaissance missions when the maelstrom caught us by surprise. We tried to escape, but the others, no one else, survived. Didn't ask for this, damn it. I'm not even Garlean. They conquered my lands just like they tried to conquer yours. I don't want to die in some blasted jungle halfway around the world. I just want to go home. I wish to thank Shinamani for the wine. That was overly kind. Would you be willing to bear a gift back to him? Last night at Remantis Falls, I collected this sap from nearby palm trees. If placed in coconut shells and stored for a few bells' time, it makes for a fine wine. See, it should be ready by now. I left 3 shells out there. Rules of 3. Please, take them to Shamani for me. I'm glad he's moved on with his life. I hope to one day do the same. Go. It's been some time, Enio. What news do you have of Drest? Ah, yes. I recall he did have some knowledge of winemaking. A simplistic but nevertheless effective method that utilizes the natural properties of palm sap. I shall have to enjoy this batch before it spoils. We are not so different, Drest and I. 2 men who have long struggled not to let our scars define us. I worry that he has been alone with his thoughts for far too long. Aye, it is past time I paid him a visit. Thank you for looking after him, Enio. By the gods, Enio, listen, I know you're eager to wash your hands off this wine business, but I've just discovered something extraordinary about Drest's palm wine. He sealed each coconut shelf with a leaf which has a very distinct shape and unusual odor. I thought I was going mad at first, but now I am certain they are the leaves of a Bacchus grapevine. Do you know what this means? Somewhere in Raincatcher Gully, the legendary vine still grows. If we could obtain a cutting, we could revive the Bacchus wine industry. We must know where Dress found these leaves. Here, take one of them back to him and see what he remembers. Oh, hello again. What is it? It's just a leaf, isn't it? I only chose it because it was pretty. Didn't know it was rare. I found them near the Juggernaut to the south. But I didn't see any grapevines. I saw fresh gobui tracks though. Maybe the leaves came from vines growing on the back of one such beast? If you go looking for it, please be careful. Some gobuis are more territorial than others, and you may have to defend yourself. There we go. What did Dress have to say, Neo? Tell me everything. I was right. This smell, this texture I hold in my hands, a Bacchus grapevine cutting. Come now, enough of this nonsense. I've heard talk of your discovery, and I refuse to believe that a common adventurer and a novice vintner could... 12 as my witness. It is a Bacchus grapevine. Wherever did you find this fantastic specimen? What? You would offer this to me? But why? There is none better positioned to reconstruct the Bacchus vineyards than you, Master of Urgland. You have the resources, the knowledge, and the passion to do so. It would be selfish of me to keep this cutting. I never knew you cared so deeply about your craft. Thank you, good sir. I will not squander this gift. In just a few years' time, I swear that every tavern across Eorzea will once again be clamoring for a cask of Wineport's legendary Bacchus wine. Sir, you didn't... Wait. The shape of this bottle, the scent of this label. This couldn't possibly be a 1547 Bacchus. But that's impossible. This vintage has not been since years before the calamity. It was the crown jewel of my personal collection. For years I have debated opening it. I'm wondering if today or tomorrow would be the ideal time. But now I realize that it was never meant for me. It should be savored by the saviors of Wineport, I say. He has made us an offer we cannot refuse. Master Ginger will find no finer wine. You have forever changed Wineport, Enio. Thank you for your kindness and your generosity. But do not permit me to delay you any longer. Pray deliver the wine to Captain Wheiskaet. Well, yes, I would very much like to drink it. But I'm a patient man. I have faith that one day I shall have another opportunity to taste perfection. Your prolonged absence was beginning to concern me. So, what of the wine I asked you to bring? Is that... 7 hells, a 1547 Bacchus. Even I know how rare that is. I have to admit, I didn't think you had it in you. But congratulations, Enio. Thanks to you, this will be the most luxurious feast Costa del Sol has seen in years. Considering the lengths you went to, I hope our guests appreciate it. Speaking of which, your associate arrived a short while ago. She appears to be growing somewhat impatient. Perhaps you could tell her that the banquet is about to begin? You have the look of a man who has been to the 7th hell and back. That a guest should be expected to supply the victuals for a banquet held in his own honor. And this, while the shadow of Titan looms over us all. It beggars belief. I can only applaud your stoicism. Had I been asked to endure such ignominy, I fear I should have accepted my lot with lot less grace. Lady Estrola, Sir Habib. A thousand pardons for this extreme discourtesy. I was wholly unaware of your true identity, sir. Had I known, I would never have permitted my man to subject to you to such unspeakable ordeals. Come now. He must have sensed something was amiss. You didn't seriously think I would send you running the length and breadth of Erzia for a banquet, did you? Spare him your mockery, Captain. Your intent was unclear to me until this moment. And unlike me, Enio has no knowledge of your traditions. Mayhap you would be so good as to enlighten him. Aye. Fair's fair. There's no sense hiding it any longer. We five were chosen by our brothers and sisters, and before the company of heroes disbanded, we each swore a solemn oath that any who would follow in our footsteps must be weighed and measured not by their reputation, but by their deeds. Each man would judge these would-be godslayers by his own criteria. If even one man found him wanting, he would be rejected without a second thought. But if he proved himself worthy, we swore that we would do our utmost to support his cause. The world has ever been full of brave souls, eager to give their lives for a righteous cause, but all too few capable of making difference with their sacrifice. To send wave after wave of hapless adventurers into the jaws of a foe against whom they have no hope of victory is worse than futile. Titan is not one to be challenged lightly, and we will not be complicit in the deaths of the unworthy. Which is why the five of you deigned to test Enio with just commendable thoroughness. Time well spent, I'm sure. But tell us, Captain, what is the assessment of you and your fellows? He's a brave one, that much is certain. He willingly walked into the midst of danger, despite my repeated warnings that it would cost him his life. His skill is undeniable. He stalked his prey as relentlessly as any child of the sands, and struck with precision when an opportunity presented itself. Too many adventurers these days care only for fortune and glory. Enio, however, is a kind, ungenerous soul. I am certain he has no shortage of loyal allies who will gladly fight at his side. Pshh, Shko, Willie Outlander is talentful plants maker, tricksy foe for mighty rockman. I can only concur with my colleagues' assessments. We five of the company of heroes hereby judge you a worthy challenger. Cast down the Lord of Crags, EnioHabev, and write a new chapter in the history of Eorzea. With the formalities out of the way, let the festivities begin. Summon the dancers, pour the wine. Eat, drink, and be merry, my friends. For today, we celebrate the birth of a new legend. EnioHabev, Titan's Bane. EnioHabev, Titan's Bane. Congratulations, sweetling. Now relax and enjoy the show. It's only just begun. Thank you. That looks good. Oh, I love that 8-bit music that just came in there for the Final Fantasy fanfare there. That was nice. Tasting the exotic feast triggers a divine revelation. In that brief transcendent moment, you glimpse the true form of reality, comprehend its fleeting nature, and cry out to the heavens in celebration. When you face the Lord of Crags, think not of Limsa Lominsa, Eorzea, or anything beyond his chamber. Think only of the men and women by your side. Fight for them, and they will fight for you. Remember that no great victory was ever achieved alone. Shh. Goodly Outlander must be facing mighty Rackman with clever fighty think. Gobbyflock cannot be coming to rescue this time. Ah, Enio, you brave fool. Promise me that when you meet Titan, you'll look him in the eye and tell him Lendenel sends his regards. You are a veteran of countless battles, Enio. This is but one more. Trust in your experience, and you will prevail. You are blessed with a fortitude to revival the earth itself. Titan will struggle to break you, I think. You are kind to indulge them, Enio. This banquet is as much for the company as it is for you, whatever they may claim. I do not deny that they mean well, but now is scarcely the time for celebration. Though they have all but pronounced you the victor, the battle with Titan has yet to begin. The hour has come for the good captain to make good on his promise. We must speak with him again. You must be eager to face Titan. As promised, we will show you the way. Travel to Bronze Lake in Upper Lanosia. There you will meet with Riol, another man who once served with the company. To ensure that this knowledge does not fall into the wrong hands, he will remain in hiding until you've given the correct signal. Give me your map. You must whistle loudly at the 3 locations I mark. Only then will he appear to meet you at this 4th location. I realize this may seem excessive now, but you will see that it is more than reasonable once you comprehend the risks inherent in our method. Greetings, mate. Might you be the one the captain said would come calling? I thought so. Pay attention now, 'cause I ain't explaining myself twice. Years ago, when we was weighing up how to get to Titan, one of our scouts stumbled across this beastman Iterite. See... Eh? What's that look for? Not familiar with them? He speaks of an unamplified Iterite which has been claimed by a beast tribe. Lest you wonder, there is no fundamental difference between such Iterites and those which you have used on countless occasions, Enio. Ah, well, if it ain't the Chartlian lass, welcome back. Forgive me for interrupting. I had planned to await your report, but I succumbed to curiosity. The tunnels between Ogumoro form a bewildering labyrinth that no outsider has ever fully explored. How the company of heroes managed to navigate it is a mystery I have long pondered. Ha! Give us a bit of credit, love. We weren't daft enough to try going in the front. The kobolds are always digging new tunnels and filling the old ones with traps. One wrong step, and the next thing you know, you got 100 tons of rock on your noggin. Suicide to even try, see? Funny thing was, the kobolds didn't seem to have no trouble finding their way around, and it was that got us thinking. I mean, Ugamora mines are like a bleeding city, ain't they? And getting around in a city that big would be a right pain in the ass if you didn't have an internet, wouldn't it? So it stood to reason that the kobolds must have one, didn't it? Even if there were outright shards in the depths of Ohogomoro, you would have needed to tune yourselves to them before you could identify their signatures within the live stream. Ah, well, that's where you're wrong, love. We had this Sharian bloke to help us, see? Delivered us right into Titan's bedchamber, he did. I don't rightly know how he did it, but I do remember him say were nothing any Sharian scholar worth her salt couldn't manage. Did he now? Locating a beacon in the absence of a known signature might be possible if the outright in question happened to be... Ah, yes. But in order to guide a traveler to said beacon safely, a second party would be required to... It is possible, in theory at least. I cannot be certain until I try. Plainly, all will depend upon whether or not I am worthy of my salt. Oh, you are, lass. Don't you worry about that. Have a bit of faith in yourself. Why don't we all go to Zelma's Run, take a closer look at the Atterite? It ain't far, though there's sure to be a few kobolds blocking the way. Not you can't handle, mind. Ooh, cutscene. So, this is the Atterite the company of heroes used to gain access to Titan's sanctuary. It is as Papulomo speculated. In its present state, this Atterite signal will not be strong enough for our purposes. I may, however, be able to use my own energies to amplify it. Alas, the task will monopolize my attention for the duration. It seems you'll have to proceed without me, Enio. I must needs remain here and supplement this beacon's power, lest you be denied your only path of escape. Fear not, I will summon the Maelstrom forces stationed nearby to protect us. With effort, it is possible that I may be able to destabilize the Atterite signal and thereby join you, albeit belatedly. Until such time as I do, you will be on your own. Now, let us see if I am worthy my salt. I have located another beacon, one far below the mountain. I can only speculate as to what you will find there, so stint not in your preparation. But at least we leveled up a bit, so... Okay, this is new. Look, an overdweller. Yes, an invader from above. He uses our Atterites against us. He has defiled Titan's sacred sanctuary. Trespassed, violated, defiled. Overdwellers must leave. Overdwellers must fly. Brothers and sisters, fear him not. His fate shall be decided by the Lord of Crags. Hear me, Overdweller. You and your treacherous brethren must be held to account for the breaking of the covenant. You shall be first to face judgment, then Limsa Laminza and her oathbreakers, liars, betrayers, oathbreakers. O Great Father, Lord of Crags, Titan, we summon you. Titan, we summon you. O Great Father, Lord of Crags, Titan, we summon you. Titan, we summon you. Ooh, what we got? Ooh, that's cool. He's come, the Lord of Crags, Titan is come. Overdweller, art thou deaf to their weeping? Thy vile covet, ever the blessing of the land, a murder of my children by the score, all in service to greed. Such sins are beyond pardon. Ah, but I'm not the first to suffer thy defiance. Thou didst bring Ifrit low. Godless overdweller, thy myriad heresies shall not go unpunished. Upon thee shall I wreak a terrible vengeance. I think there's something in the middle we have to kill. I don't know what, though. There might be some... Oh, yeah, the granite ghoul. We need to kill that. Okay, let's kill that. There we go. Kill that. Alright. We got it. Wow, just a couple more hits. Yeah, we got it. Yes! On our first attempt, we got it. The Lord of Crags, Great Father Titan has fallen. Oh, another piece of the puzzle. So this is the... So... That's where we get the crystals, from defeating bosses. So we have 2 left. Yeah, we got 2 left. I wonder what those are gonna mean at the end. I don't know. Must be something important. Yeah, we got that. The crimes of the Overdweller shall never be forgiven, never be forgotten. No, no, never. 'Twas your king who broke the covenant. We have acted only in defense of our lands. Cease your aggression, or never will there be peace. Until our dying breaths, we shall defy you. Deny, decry, defy. Yeah, that was a fun boss. Ooh, cutscene. Now these are the readings one would expect of an Acon. I have seen enough. We proceed as planned. Are you sure that is wise, my lord? Your curiosity is untested and unproven. We do not yet know its true capabilities. Then trust in mine, right, Tatine. My curiosity, as you eloquently put it, would have bested Titan in the blink of an eye. Why? If there be truth to the legends, it could readily subjugate the whole of Erza, given Balua longer. Is that not so? It is. No greater single power has ever been conceived, much less realized. What you say may well be true, but while such devices may win battles, I do not believe they will serve to change the course of this war. Oh, but they will. Have a little faith, my friend. I cannot endorse this course of action. Eh? Fool. And now he has a fort. Fascinating. Carry on, Crystal Bearer. Far though you have come, your work is far from done. and naught remain to mark his passing. Well, the Asians are nothing if not elusive. It is of little wonder that they should cast that advanced teleportation magics at will. But that they would choose to consort with the Empire. What common goal could they possibly share? I feared I might arrive too late, but I see you had the matter well in hand. I have taken measures to ensure that we were not pursued, yet I cannot say how long they will hold. Take your leave while the kobolds are still in disarray. I will follow Nunh. There is something I must investigate before I depart. I will teleport you to that right in Zelma's Run, and we will rendezvous at Confront Lake. Agreed? I'm relieved to see you well, but come, let us discuss our next step. Welcome, Paladin. You should know that word of your deeds has reached me. Few are those who follow the true Paladin path without misstep, but you are one of them. I am proud to call you brother. You have kept the faith, and in return, I must have faith in you. It is time that you knew the truth, though it is hard to share, for it is a shame I would rather keep hidden from outsiders. Perhaps you remember when I told you of the traitor and the sword oathkeeper that he stole. His name is Solkzagil, and he was my predecessor as captain of the Sultan's Sworn Elite. Yes, he was the same man whom I had admired as a child, who inspired me to take up the sword and follow the way of the Paladin. He was the paragon of paladins until, that is, he changed. Some years ago now, there was a struggle for influence between the Sultanate military and a faction within the syndicate known as the Monetarists. The latter emerged triumphant, and the army's authority was diminished dramatically. Another Solkzagil was still captain of the Sultan's Sworn Elite. He knew his position was perilous, so he fled, taking Oathkeeper with him. In doing so, he went against the words that he had spoken on bended knee before his royal liege. Now, it falls to me, as captain, to restore the honor and name of the Sultan Sworn. If that means cutting down my former mentor and master, I would do it gladly, for his misdeed cannot be forgiven. But his death will not lift the stain that mars our name. He must be put on trial in a public court so that everyone knows his crimes. Then, and only then, can we begin to earn the people's trust again. He served for over 30 years as captain of the Sultan's Sworn Elite, and he's a formidable foe. Few can match his skill with the sword. Even together, you and I will find it difficult to take him alive without mortal harm to one side or the other. So you must continue to hone your skills and prepare for the day when we will face him. To complete the next stage of your training, you must do this. Go to the Urgram River in eastern Tanalan and find the brazier we have placed there. By lighting it, you will draw the ire of the Lipidotes dwelling within the waters. Face the creatures in battle and master your new skills. The fight will not be easy, but if you take to heart what you have learned and let the crystal be your guide, you will triumph. This should be hopefully this is the last one. Yeah. Good! You have mastered your new skills and made them your own. But much work remains to be done before you can face the traitor Solkzagil. We are close to finding him, and as our net draws tighter, it grows ever more important that we make ready for the moment when the fish must at last be landed. Ooh, this prominence ability is going to be nice. This is going to be a fun combo. using total eclipse and prominence together. This is great. The word will already have reached Maelstrom Command. Protocol requires that a representative of our order inform the High Commander of the mission's success. The honor is rightfully yours, Enio. Once again, I must commend you on a job well done. We shall speak again soon. Ooh, Jade. Someone looks like the Jade is taking a photo shoot here or something. Look at that. Thank you for coming, Enio. Word of your triumph reached me some while ago, but I am pleased to have it personally confirmed. First Ifrit, and now Titan. Truly, when I think of your achievements, I feel the loss of the warriors of the light less keenly. And there can be no greater compliment than that. You and your order are heroes. The people of Lim's Elements are forever in your debt. I shall relay the details of your report to the Admiral forthwith. Please send my regards to the Scions of the Seventh Dawn. Yay! Enio, this is Minfilia. Estelle has informed me of your success. You have won a great victory for the people of Erzia, one that shall not be forgotten. And what is more, both you and Estelle emerged from Ogomoro unscathed. Why? Tatsuro and the others seemed as glad of that as they did of the Titan's fall. You can look forward to a hero's welcome. We'll be awaiting your return at the Waking Sands. There is much to discuss. Godspeed. Alright, I wonder where the story is going to continue on from here. I'm curious. So, I wonder what we got next time. Alright. What happened here? Oh. Ooh. Wait a minute. Oh, what a massacre. What a massacre this is. Wait a minute, did we miss something at the entrance? Yeah, Tatara is not here. What happened here? Oh, Naraxia is dead. What happened here? Who was that we talked to over on the... Who was that we talked over the phone? Wow. This is sad. This one is glad. Walking one is safe. What happened? Interesting how plot developments happen when we are not there. I don't know. We'll be awaiting your return at the Waking Sands. There is much to discuss. Godspeed. Thank heavens he is safe. Luisos, do you see? Your light shines brightly in this one, and in time it will illuminate the realm once more. Huh? Advance no further! We have come for the one who slayed Ifrit and Titan. Bring him forth, or you shall know no mercy. Confound it. Stay out of sight. I would leave a message with you. I surrender myself on the condition you spare the innocents. Conditions? There speaks the supreme scion. I'll grant you have courage, but you would be better served by armor. Search all you will. The one you seek is not here. So it would seem. And yet you knew to look here. But how? Hold that thought. Ouch. Jesus. There's no need for that. No! Conditions of surrender denied. Have you not done enough? Perhaps. Enough! We must away. Though we have not found our quarry, the High Priestess of the Scions should suffice for now. They say she also possesses the echo. I cannot wait to hear her scream. I said enough! We leave. Bring the prisoners. Walking one. Nymphalia asked this one to... In case walking one returned, this one was to say a church in eastern Townland. Walking one must claim sanctuary. This one tried to protect walking one and Nymphalia from imperial ones. Forgive this one. Save. I wasn't expecting that game. I almost cried there. Is something troubling you, my son? You have the look of one who has endured great suffering. If there's anything I can do to help, anything at all, you need only ask. The wild roses are dead, Father, and I know what not to do. The wild roses. I see. You may speak freely here. We are all friends of the Scions. How? How could this have happened? And you are certain that Nymphalia was among those taken by the Garleans? let us pray no further harm comes to them. You may stay here for as long as you wish. It is the least I can do for a friend of Minfilius. I have known her since she was but a child. Well, do I recall the day of our first meeting? I swore then to do everything in my power to support her, and I will gladly offer the self-same service to her brother and sister scions. So please, no matter what you require, you need not hesitate to ask. Marquise, would you come here for a moment? Yes, Father? If you require assistance, pray speak with Marquise. He's trifle shy, but I assure you he means well. I should explain. Marquise is a survivor of the Battle of Cartanu. Alas, his experiences took a terrible toll upon his mind. Had we not taken him into our care, he would surely have perished in the desert. Marquise, I want you to look after Enio. Do you understand? Yes, Father. Excuse me, Enio. Do you have a moment? It concerns this broken horologe which was found in the pocket of the man brought here for burial. There is something familiar about it, but just what I cannot say. Perhaps if I tinker with the device, it will come to me. However, I lack the proper tools to do so. I would ask that you journey to Camp Drybone in my stead to obtain a ballpoint chisel and a pair of needle-nose pincers. They are often used by goldsmiths, so perhaps they would be the best people to ask. Of course, I do not expect you to foot the bill. Here, take this coin purse. That should cover. A ballpoint chisel, you say? And a pair of needle-nose pincers? Those things don't come cheap, you know. Those balls! I mean, yes, that should be sufficient payment. Nice doing business with you. Have you brought the tools I requested? Something occurs to me. Please wait here for a moment. It was for naught. Though I repaired the device easily, this sensation that stirs within me remains a mystery. But how? How did I do it? These hands, my hands, they moved with a mind of their own, deftly manipulating the clockwork mechanisms. There was no doubt or uncertainty. I knew exactly what to do, as though I had performed the same motions countless times before. Pardon me, Enio, this was a mistake. Please give the horologe to Sister Elund. The man who once owned it is currently in her care. And I think it best that be returned to him. Good evening to you, sir. Have you come to pay your respects to this man? Never before have I seen such a queer device. You say that it measures the passing of time? Mayhap they are more common in Garlemald. I am given to understand that its cities are filled with all manner of amazing technologies. Marquis said that it belongs to the deceased? Oh dear. You don't suppose that the owner might have been a Garlean spy? It may behoove us to notify the authorities in Camp Drybone. But mayhap more importantly, how did Marquis manage to repair this device? I knew he had a talent for the trades, but this goes far beyond mending fences and thatching roofs. I recognize you now, Enio. Allow me to express my deepest condolences for those who lost their lives in the attack. I apologize if discussing this upsets you, but you should know that the bodies of your comrades are presently being removed from the Waking Sands and prepare for transport here. If you wish to leave this work to others, I understand. However, taking part might help you find closure. I think I'm going to say this right now. The stories between level 25 to 30, 20 to 30 were interesting, and the story is finally picking up around level 40. So, that's what some people are telling me, and they're correct. Hey, you don't look like one of them church fellas. Not that I'll turn you away, no sir. As you can see, we've got a pile of unidentified bodies over yonder. No one's come to claim them, so off the lich yard they go. Be thankful you didn't have to go inside and see the carnage for yourself. It was the stuff of nightmares, I tell you. Gosh damn Imperials. Ugh. I don't know what quarrel they have with these folks, and I sure as hell don't want to know. The sooner we put this behind us, the better. Say, I ain't seen you around here before. Or do you just have one of them faces? Never mind. Any road, there's a carriage come to haul the bodies to the lich yard, out by the east gate. There's only 8 to load up, but seeing as I'm exhausted from carrying all the others, I have a mind to leave the remainder to you. You might want to cover your nose while you work. Some of those folks are starting to turn. Eek. This is terrible. Oh, Mo, there's Noraxia. Oh, boy. Oh, this is just sad. What happened to the big fella? Forget it. Just bring the next batch and toss them in the back. Ain't like they'll complain if you're rough. How are you able to fit this different like his history best left assault? Yeah. Well, ain't you a strong one? 4 in 1 trip. Reckon there's no need for me to lend you a hand with the rest then. Oh boy. You have to carry the rest. Oh. Oh boy. I feel for the Sylph Noraxia the most. Come on, come on! Let's finish this before I die of old age. Oh boy, look at this description right here on Noraxia's corpse. Even the description is just saddening. The Sylph's peaceful expression belies the fact she no longer lives. That should be all of them. Thanks for the help. Reckon it won't take too long to deliver all the corpses to the lich yard. Even so, you might want to hurry back and tell them that our work here is done. Wait a minute, can we still go back into the interior, or we can't? A nice attention to detail, game. All the bodies have been removed. Again, a nice attention to detail, game. No music playing in here. Absolutely no music playing in here. Just silence. I don't know if we'll revisit this place later in the game, but just kind of sad. Oh, I feel like I'm going to cry, but so far I'm holding it in. I mean, I don't mind crying. It's just, I definitely feel the sadness here. I really do. Just gonna have a little moment of silence here. Even though these are just video game characters, I actually feel bad and sad for this. Don't worry, it's not gonna be long. I just want to have a little bit of silence here for a bit. Okay, I think that's long enough of a silence moment for what just happened here. Okay. I see that you decided to heed my advice. I pray that in doing so you found some small measure of peace. Kind of. The first carriage from Vesper Bay arrived not long ago, and we have begun preparing your comrades for burial. I had a hand in initial rites, and I would like you to know that for many, death came quickly. Rest assured that we will treat them with the utmost respect and do everything we can to shepherd them to Tal's realm. The game is bringing the feels to me. It really is. I know a couple of players have told me it's gonna happen at some point, and it is. Wishes to discuss one of the scions. Oh boy, I think we know who we're gonna be talking about. Okay, here we go. Here we go. If anybody's lurking, I think you're gonna be experiencing an important moment here. I don't know how this is gonna go, but this is going to be interesting. Alright. Although we can perform rites for most of the scions, there is one whom we cannot accept. We would like you to return this one to our people, the Sylphs of Little Solace. I kinda had a feeling this was gonna happen. Ooh. It is only proper that she be given into the care of her friends and family, so that they may mourn her in accordance with Sylphic traditions. Yeah. Oh boy, here we go. This one is surprised to see walking one in Little Solace. How can these one assist walking one? Oh boy. I haven't done anything like this personally in real life yet, but I can imagine this not being easy to do. Aruxia! But this one does not understand. Gamuxio, this one has heard much wailing. This one would know what has caused such distress. Oh. Oh boy. Try telling someone who died. This is gonna be rough. Give me a moment, guys. I think this is the first time. Yeah. I haven't had a video game do this maybe in a while. It's been years. It's a sad film moment. I'm okay. It's just that it's a sad moment. Just telling someone who died? Yeah. I know you didn't see. I know there's more context to this, but it's a sad scene. I know you haven't even go through the rest of the cutscene yet. Oof. Ooh. Especially when this character doesn't know that someone important has died. Hold on. Okay, we're gonna do this. Just give me a moment here. Ooh. Oh boy. This is gonna be rough. This is gonna be rough. It's a good thing the game tells us. It's a good thing the game doesn't rush to the cutscene. So, all I have to do is hit a button on my mouse and the cutscene will continue. Okay, I think I'm almost good. I don't think it's gonna get better. Oh boy. Okay, here we go. Okay, here we go. Let's see what happens next. Again, I don't know what's going on with the story after this. My first time going through this. Alright, here we go. And no, I'm not faking this. I just lost my composure there. Okay. 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 Okay, here we go. Here we go. Do I have any paper? No, I don't have any paper. Let's do this. Terrible news, Elder One. Awful news. Walking One has returned to Little Solace. But why? These ones have not requested further aid. Araxia? How did this happen? Explain everything to this one. At once. So, not only Noraxia, but many of Walking One's friends were lost as well. Araxia! Araxia went to Tannerland at the behest of this one. Walking One was with Noraxia at the end. Tell this one that Noraxia was brave. Tell this one that Noraxia did not suffer. Knowing what I saw earlier? Yeah. Okay, let's continue. I don't know if that character suffered, but it was not pleasant. Ooh. This is not something you see very often, I do. Not very often. So, hold on. Okay, let's continue. Let's continue. This one is glad to hear Walking One's words. If you don't know what this character is saying, they're referring to us, the main character, as the Walking One. So, just letting you guys know. Okay. Thank you for bringing Noraxia home, Walking One. These ones also wish to thank Praying Ones. Tell Praying Ones these ones will remember this kindness. Thank you. Hold on a second. Oh, no, I don't want to... I don't want to alt tab, otherwise I accidentally continue the cutscene here. But thank you, Anna. Okay, let's continue. Hold on. I did not read this one yet. This one demands vengeance. Imperial ones must pay. Imperial ones must suffer. When the time comes for walking ones to face Imperial ones, do not forget these ones. These ones would not have Noraxia's death be for naught. These ones will fight. Even though that scene was not very long, I felt the feels. Ooh, boy. Even if you guys don't know the races or characters in this game, even you must have felt something from that whole scene there. Yeah, the way it was done, it was beautiful. I hope I don't have to go through that in real life, telling someone that they have died. Yeah. We thank you for your service to the church and to the sylphs. You may be pleased to know that in your absence, we interred the remaining seance in the Lich Yard. Perhaps you still wish to do more for your friends. If so, I would remind you that you have already done so much on their behalf. Please take a rest and set aside your burdens for now, Enio. I don't think we're done yet. I think there's more. I'm not imagining it, Enio. I know I'm being watched. This is different. Sinister. It is as if I am under observation. The feeling comes and goes. But I felt it when I last ventured outside. Yes. I know I felt it. Will you look outside for me? Please? It'll only take a moment. Ooh. Alright, let's defeat this. The characters. You were attacked, weren't you? Are you unharmed? Thank the gods. I knew it. He was watching me. But why was he watching me? What did he want with me? Did he perhaps know something of my past? If only I could have asked him. I need to think. Please, allow me a moment alone. Wait. Father Iliad must hear of this. Will you tell him for me? It's important. I think others may come for me again. Heavens forfend that such a thing should happen on holy ground. Do you have any idea who this man was? Did you notice anything distinctive about his garb or possessions? This is Garlean steel, which means the man who was watching Marquise was... Make haste to Camp Drybone at once. We must summon the immortal flames before more Imperials come. Oh, we meet again. I remember this character. I fondly hope that I might be the first to speak with you. Would that I had been so fortunate. At ease, adventurer. I come not on behalf of the Empire. On the contrary, I mean to revive the scions of the Seventh Dawn. And to that end, I have come in search of a legend. The greatest engineer of our time, Master Sid Garland. I have come for you. I fear you are mistaken, child. He is but a poor soul who bore witness to the horrors at Cartidu. I beg of you, leave us in peace. Wait, Hear me, Sid. Eorzea needs you. Sid, was it? Here, these belong to you. I thought you bore the mark of greatness. It seems that I was right. Our time together was all too brief, but it felt as though my son had returned to me. You have brought joy to an old man's life. But it is time for you to help those who truly need you. Who are you? Alfinau Livilior, at your service. As a sign of the Seventh Dawn, I stand against our primal and imperial foes, as my grandfather once did. There's no secret what befell our order at the Waking Sands. Word has already spread across Eorzea. The repercussions are far greater than you realize. In the wake of the calamity, the three city-states focused their efforts solely on reconstruction, leaving the Scions to combat the primal threat unaided. And lo, we are all but destroyed. Yet even as the nations mourn our demise, and abandon what little hope they have left, we cannot forsake our duty, now least of all. The Ixal have summoned Garuda once more, and she torments the people of Cortias as we speak. Her appetite for destruction far exceeds that of other primals. Worse, in her present incarnation, our Baldesian colleagues believe she surpassed both Ifrit and Titan in strength. Yet therein lies an opportunity. Were we somehow to defeat Garuda, it would serve as a warning to the other beast tribes that even their mightiest gods can be felled. If we are to face our foe, we must first circumvent the tempest that shields her sanctuary. And for that, we need an airship. Your airship, Sid. I have an airship. Yes, Sid, you do. Your very own airship. It was last seen in the skies over Grenadier, not long before the calamity. So let us begin our search there. An airship. My airship. Wait. Let us put an end to the primals. Together we will show the world that the Scions are still a force to be reckoned with. They need my airship. They need me. What a curious twist of fate that Master Sid Garland would at last be found within our church. It defies imagination. Beg your pardon, Enio. You wish to find his airship, yes? I know not how much truth there is to it, but there is a tale known as the final flight of the Enterprise, which grew popular in the wake of the calamity. Much like the Great Gobu Wall of Ulda. It states that the Enterprise flew northwest from Grenada towards Quertas. If true, the airship would have passed through the North Shroud, likely over Folgord Float, the closest settlement to Quertas. Mayhap the Serpent stationed there have records of the event that transpired that day. I'd hope you might rest from your journeys for a time, but I see that the world still has needs of you and the Scions. Pray look after yourself and Sid, Enio. We're gonna see if Sid and Alphinaud has anything to say. The Enterprise. I've heard that name before, but where? Okay, the same thing? Okay. What does Alphinaud have to say? Whilst you were catering to the company of buffoons every whim, I was gathering information on our fettered foe. As a result, I was not present when the Garleans came. I suppose you should be grateful for our good fortune, though it matters little should Garuda grow powerful enough to bring Eorzea to heel. Is there aught I can assist you with, sir? The Enterprise? You speak of Gester Garland's ship, yes? Aye, I didn't refer to the records. I know that the airship was sighted overhead 5 years ago, clearly bound for Quertas. What became of it after that I cannot say. If you wish to know more, pray speak with Vortifold at Florentro Spire. He was on duty that day and saw it with his own eyes. I am unsure what it is you hope to accomplish, though. Even should you locate the ship, would you not need a man of Master Garland's caliber to fly it? I hear tell that the machinery is fiendishly complex. You have come in search of Vortifold? Then well met, for you have found him. Indeed, I have served as whaler for many years, since before the great snows came to Quertas. What exactly is this about? Ah, the final flight of the Enterprise. I do indeed remember that day. 'Twas on the eve of the Battle of Cartino, now 5 years ago. I held the spire alone that night, while the bulk of our forces marched to meet the enemy in the field. Hold on a second. Then, all of a sudden, the most fantastic airship I'd ever seen splits the sky overhead. I could only watch in shock as it disappeared over the mountains to the northwest. If the Enterprise wasn't destroyed during the calamity, I'd wager it's still somewhere in Quertas. The astrologians at the Observatorium may have records which could help, but to obtain them, you would need to deal with these guardians who control the region. I wouldn't expect much, though. The high houses have long been concerned with their own affairs above all else. When Dalamud ascended, they took shelter behind their gates, and even now, they have little regard for plights of the other nations. Nevertheless, they may deign to assist you should you prove yourself useful. Consider providing your services to the soldiers who guard the Observatorium. Though they may refuse you at first, I have little doubt they would accept aid freely offered. Ooh, snowy area. Ooh, this is interesting. Excuse me, can you repeat that? You wish to offer your services to House Durandare? And what, pray tell, do you wish to receive in exchange? Ha, how absurd, as if he would permit an outsider to peruse the records of the Observatorium. Do not mistake our courtesy for friendliness. The Holy See of Ishgard may allow foreigners to travel freely within these lands, but we do not intend to offer succor to strangers. Hello and have mercy, are you still here? You may take shelter within our walls if you insist, but do not distract me while I am on duty. We're stretched thin as it is. And where the hells is that knight sent on patrol? He should have returned ages ago. Perhaps I have a use for you. After all, if you still wish to aid us, search the wilds to the west for my missing man. You will know him by his uniform, that of House Durandare, as is mine. Alright, that was easy. If it wasn't for you, sir, I reckon they would have finished me off. Despicable dragon-loving bastards. That was a mercy they didn't deserve. I prayed the rumors were mistaken, but this confirms the worst. I must immediately inform my superiors that the heretics are operating within this region. Fare thee well, friend. Okay, let's help out. Oh yeah, this is nice. I love this combo. Oh yeah. Oh, I went out a little side activity. This is fun. Oh yeah, I love this ability already. Just spam this because we got a lot of enemies nearby. Yeah, we did it, just like that. I must say, I didn't actually expect you to find my knight, much less rescue him. I see I may have been premature in my judgment, sir. We are a proud people, beholden to tradition, but that does not mean we are without humility. I shall instruct the astrologians to entertain your request. However, understand it is ultimately their decision whether or not you may peruse their records. Pray proceed to the observatorium and introduce yourself to Edmail. Ah, the gentleman come in search for the airship. This is highly unorthodox. Whatever could Sir Ludovox be thinking? It is true that we maintain meticulous records which stretch back generations. However, because this information is used to chart Dravadian activity, access is strictly controlled. One can never be too careful with heretics and their sympathizers lurking about. If you would persist with your inquiries, pray seek an audience with Chief Astrologian Forlemort up above. No, absolutely not. Have you any inkling what it is you ask? Were our records to fall into the wrong hands, it could change the course of a war which has raged for generations. I speak not of some mere spat between southern nations. Ours is a holy crusade, and we are the arbiters of Hollow's will. I will not put our great nation at risk. Certainly not to help a foreigner locate a missing airship, of all things. Pardon the intrusion, Forlemort. I wish to speak with you regarding the recent... Oh! I did not realize you had a guest. Inquisitor Goim, you honor us with your presence, sir. The gentleman was just leaving. Ah, you must be the one who rescued House Durandir's knife from those heretics. Doubtless they feel indebted to you. I am told you seek an airship last seen in Quertas 5 years ago, yes? You come to us at an inconvenient time, I fear. Much has changed in the intervening years, and little for the better. While I wish you the best of luck in your search, I would also strongly advise caution. The snows can come quickly in Quertas. One moment you may feel as though you have a firm grasp on your surroundings, safe and secure in your knowledge, and the next you may find yourself in an wholly unfamiliar situation, blind to the dangers hidden by the blizzard. It would be wise for you to focus on a single landmark whilst traveling. Do not give in to temptation and deviate from your course. I was not aware you aided House-Durandar in that fashion. Thank you, sir. Nevertheless, my decision stands. I cannot give you what you seek. You there, sir. I could not help but overhear your conversation with the chief astrologian. There may be a way I can assist you, but it would require that you perform me for a favor in exchange. An associate of mine has yet to return his expedition to the cliffs east of the observatorium. He was adamant that he could conduct his observations alone. Despite the presence of exile in that vicinity, if you would seek out this astrologian and confirm that he's well, it would be a great comfort to me. This is a decent spot jump. Here we go. Let's find out if you're going to survive. This is probably the highest point in this area. Not bad draw distance, too. Okay, here we go. Whoa! What? 1 health point. 1. 1 health point. It was that close. Wow. It's a good thing I leveled up a little bit before I got into this quest. What a relief to see someone other than the goddamn Birdman. I thought I could finish my work whilst the Ixal were away, but they returned far quicker than I anticipated. It was all I could do to hide and hope they might leave again before I froze too. Wait, who are you? You're not one of our knights. A man of House-Durandar cannot be seen in the company of an unbeliever. Good day, sir. The arrogant fool returned not long before you arrived, muttering about the disgrace of having been rescued by an unbeliever. Serves him right for underestimating the dangers our knights face every day. Ah, but you're eager to locate your airship. It may surprise you that by saving him, you have already aided your own cause. House-Durandar is quick to regard outsiders with suspicion, as it is their duty to sound the alarm the first sign of Dravanian aggression. Yet you have already aided them twice, for which they are honor-bound to repay you. Even so, they will not grant you access to the observatorium's records. That is just as well, for there are other ways you might locate your missing airship. What I propose is that you petition Lord Portelaine for an official introduction to the other high houses. The word of House-Durandar carries tremendous weight in Ishgard. Should the captain consent, you would have little trouble obtaining information from the other high houses. You've caused quite a stir in your short time here. First you slay 2 heretics and save a knight, and now I hear you rescued a man of our house. I imagine you must desire something for your troubles. An introduction to the other high houses. I cannot deny that you have been given us no cause to distrust you, but while you have performed 2 acts, you would have me endorse you to 3 high houses. It is only fitting that you aid us one final time. Wouldn't you agree? Now, I understand you are very eager to find your missing airship. Worry not, for this task you should take a man of your skills but a moment to complete. Not long ago, a porter bound for Scarfire Locks was ambushed on the road due west of here. Though he escaped with his life, he would very much like his wares as well. On the off chance any portion of his shipment remains, I would have you travel to the scene of the robbery and bring back what you find. Lest you intend to perform only a cursory search, bear in mind that recovering the stolen merchandise will endear you to House Helenart, further improving the chances that they indulge your request for aid. Just like that. Have you good tidings to share? Or better yet, stolen merchandise to show? Gods bless ye, friend. It's all here. Every last... but wait. That chest over there looks like it had been pillaged. Bloody hells. That's the personal property of Lord Francel, too. Are you certain? Clearly an attempt was made to open it, but the lock appears to have held. Nevertheless, if you wish to verify the contents against your shipping manifest, be my guest. Fury take me, a draconian rosary, in the possession of Lord Francel? Yet, perhaps this is not so difficult to fathom. House Helenarde is whispered to be infested with heretics. Thank you for bringing this matter to my attention, sir. I shall inform the Inquisitors immediately. Under these circumstances, I must strongly advise against associating with House Helenarde. Your other introductions will need to be postponed as well. It is the duty of every Ishgardian to root out and destroy heretics. All else must wait until this matter is resolved. Come closer, lad, and listen well. This is for your ears only. Lord Francel is no heretic. He's a goodly, righteous man, wholly dedicated to the cause. I know this because I served House Helenarde for years prior to the calamity. You must go to Skyfire Locks and warn him of the coming storm. The Inquisitors are ruthless and will spare him no mercy. Speak to him of an Idois, and he will know you for a friend. Now, go. Yes? You look as though you have something to say, do you? I seek an audience with the bearers of the White Lily. Then you have come to the wrong place, for we of House Helenarde bear the rose. Mayhap you should journey to Grenadia. I believe an ancient Duskwhite house was said to use the White Lily as its sigil. I will go whither the wild rose blooms. What an odd thing to say. Did you perchance receive a blow to the head not long ago? Or is this some queer southern jest? Is that an Edelweiss in your pocket, or are you happy to meet me? I see Sir Carolot has not forgotten my mother's favorite flower. A pity it has not been seen in Querta since the calamity. You may speak freely here, friend. That's absurd. I would sooner die than become a thrall of the dragons. Alas, it matters little what I say at this point. Although the Draconian Rosary was not found in my possession, it will still be considered by many to be proof of my heresy. I must do my utmost to prove my innocence to the Inquisitors. For if they harbor even the slightest doubt, this will only add weight to the incessant accusations our house has suffered of late. It's as though the gods themselves are plotting our fall. You risk much by coming here. It is only proper that I recompense you for this deed. Tell me what you desire, and I shall do my best to provide. A missing airship. I see. It may require a prolonged effort to locate your quarry. I shall direct you to one in a better position to assist you. Lord Harshaphant of House Fortemps commands the garrison at Camp Dragonhead. Present to him this letter of introduction, and he will surely be receptive to your needs. Thank you. Ah, the unmistakable swagger of a well-traveled adventurer. If you're come to pay your respects, be at ease, friend. I am not one to stand on formality. Truth be told, I would gladly welcome many and more brave souls like yourself. But enough chatter. Pray tell me why you have come. If there is any justice in this world, these charges will receive no serious consideration. It is beyond inconceivable. Ah, yes. The letter made mention of a pressing matter for which you required assistance. What might that be? So this enterprise you speak of was last seen about Quertas before the calamity 5 years ago. I fear it may prove difficult to find any eyewitnesses to these events. For while Ishgard did not participate in the Battle of Cartano, We were embroiled in our own internal conflicts at the time. Nevertheless, I will make inquiries on your behalf and share with you my findings in the future. In the meantime, please enjoy the hospitality of Cramped Dragonhead. I will see that you are afforded every courtesy as a guest of House Fortemps. As you have doubtless realized by now, the high houses of Ishgard, House of Fortemps included, are either unable or unwilling to offer you formal assistance in your search. However, that does not mean that there are not influential individuals within each house who are sympathetic to your cause. I shall be sending missives to their various representatives in Ishgard, though I suspect it will be quicker and more efficient if you were make inquiries of your own. Lady Nunh of mine own House Fortemps, who resides here in Camp Dragonhead, rather enjoys the company of travelers. There is also Cravelin of House Helinardi, who can be found at Skyfire Locks, though any information you pry from the scribe may prove difficult to parse. Have you spoken with the chief astrologian of House Durindare yet? Really? Perhaps he will be more accommodating once I inform him that you are a friend of House Fortemps. Do not concern yourself with House Dismail. I shall contact them myself. Seek the counsel of the tree I mentioned, and return to me when finished. Why, hello, good sir. What's that? And the airship, you say? I hate to disappoint you, but I know nothing of what you seek. Likely no one of House Fortemps does. For if they did, I would definitely know as well. The topic on everyone's lips these days is what will become of young Lord Francel. Some say the allegations are long overdue, given how many members of House Helinardi have been found guilty of heresy in recent days. Alone, grant me strength. There must be some way to... Oh. Who are you? A friend of Lord Harshiffan? I want to help you. I truly do. But these accusations of heresy have thrown House Helinardi to chaos. Right now, we must focus on combating these charges and preserving our reputation. I gather you have been busy since we last spoke. Lord Harshiffan's missive was positively glowing. But if you think that his endorsement is cause for me to disregard his guardian policies, then you are sorely mistaken. We are at war, sir, and the enemy grows bolder by the day. Why, in the short time since Inquisitor Golami arrived in Coertas, countless heretics have been discovered, even amongst the elite of Ishgardian society. If Lord Harshiffan wishes to waste his days chasing after a long-lost airship, then that is his choice. But if he expects others to share in his folly, then he is truly blind to the present state of affairs. By your countenance, I take it you did not learn anything of use. Nor did I fear. It seems the whole of Coertas is consumed by this talk of heretics in the high houses. We can only hope that my sources in Ishgard proper provide more pertinent information. I had another personal request to make of you. It concerns Lord Francel, of whom much has been whispered in recent days. I have received a report that he and 3 knights were seen heading north towards the Steel Vigil. The outpost was long ago overrun by the Dravanian horde, so I'm not certain what he intends to accomplish with such a small force. Whatever his motives, I fear for his safety. Pray journey to the Steel Vigil and see if Lord Francel's party requires assistance. So fast, so strong. We were no match. It's not... Oh. Dare to interrupt? Okay. Before we got interrupted... It's not safe here. We must flee. Where's Lord Francel? Please, you must find him. Who goes there? Enio, no, stay back. The fiend is still here. Come on. He almost got you. Oh, let's defeat it again. Confound it all! How are we to redeem House Helinardi if we can't even slay a single Ibis? We are fortunate you came along when you did, sir. House Leonardi will remember your kindness. I heard the beast cries from over yonder. Did Lord Francel is safe? Bless you, sir. Bless you. Curse those fiends. It's as though as they knew we were coming. It was a foolish thing to do, I know. But I had hoped we might demonstrate our devotion by slaying a number of the Scalekin. Moreover, it was House Leonardi that yielded the steel vigil to the Horde many years ago. One might say that our defeat here heralded the slow decline of our house's once great name. We have been brought even lower by these despicable accusations of heresy, and despite my best efforts, I have done naught to improve the situation. The day of my trial approaches. Soon I must accept the judgment of the Inquisitors, whatever it may be. But even should my protestations fall on deaf ears, I will proclaim my innocence to my dying breath. What did you find at the Steel Vigil? Ah, I see. A reckless plan. But at least it did not cost him and his knights their lives. I have news for you as well. A witness to the final fight of the Enterprise has been found. Alas, there is a complication. It has become common knowledge that you paid a visit to Lord Francel at Skyfire Locks not long ago. Upon learning of this, the witness became understandably reticent to make your acquaintance, for fear of being seen in the company of a man who might later be declared a heretic. A not unreasonable fear, given the seal with which Inquisitor Gulami has conducted his investigations. In any case, if we wish to obtain his testimony, we must first clear Lord Francel's name, and, by association, yours. As I see it, the key to proving Lord Francel's innocence is discrediting the evidence against him. I speak of the Draconian rosary found in the chest you yourself recovered. If you would, please tell me of the incident in question. So, it was found in a locked chest labeled as the property of Lord Francel. If the rosary was not his, then someone else with access must have planted it. Here is what you must do. Return to Skyfire Locks and speak with Rickman. He works closely with the porters who ferry goods across Quertas, so he may have some inkling of who could be responsible. Someone tampering with shipments? Fury strike me down. If all them rosaries found in our people's possessions were planted. Hey now, don't you give me that look, lad. I'm a House Leonardi man through and through. This heresy nonsense is bad for me and my family too. I ain't saying the porters what were bringing the shipment did it, though. I know most of them what work the trade routes, and I've never had cause to question their faith. But if it wasn't them neither, then your guess is as good as mine. After all, most every shipment is thoroughly inspected before it... Could it have been the fellas but were responsible for the inspections? His guardian knights and inquisitors. A lot of them. As if they've ever turned their cloaks. Reckon that means the porters are your most likely suspects. Hate to think it, but maybe you should question them. There's a crew coming to Camp Dragonhead from White Brim Front today. You might consider having a word with them. Beg your pardon? You suspect that we porters have been planting draconian rosaries in House Leonardi's shipments? What nerve! If you truly believe such nonsense, search our parcels and see what you find. Find a draconian rosary hidden inside a parcel. Are we finished? If so, I would appreciate an apology. But that's impossible. Once the night at White Brim Front concluded her inspection, I loaded the parcels at the wagon myself. And if I had been the culprit, I would have never allowed you to search my shipments. Say what you will to Lord Harshifant, I will not be held accountable for this. Did something happen outside? I thought I heard shouting. But more importantly, what did Rickman have to say? More draconian rosaries? In every single parcel bound for Skyfire Locks? That beggar's belief. Even the Inquisitors must acknowledge that this is no more than a crass attempt to sully House Helenarde's reputation. Whoever is responsible has overplayed his hand, and praise alone that he did. Lord Francel's trial is upon us, and we must act now if we are to clear his name. From the very first, I knew it could not be that so many members of House Helenarde were heretics. At last, we can give the lie to these poisonous allegations and put an end to this travesty. I will need to prepare a formal statement regarding these developments for the Holy See. In the meantime, I would have you bear my words to Inquisitor Brigi. Tell her that House Fortemps demands that Lord Francel's trial be postponed until a full investigation has been conducted. What is it, my child? Lord Harshiphon would have the Inquisitors do what? But that is not possible. Inquisitor Gulami presides over Lord Francel's trial at Witchdrop even as we speak. Fear not. If Lord Francel is indeed innocent, he shall walk in Hallone's halls with the fallen heroes of Isgard. They have taken Lord Francel to Witchdrop? This is madness. The Inquisitor does not have sufficient grounds to subject him to that manner of trial. I will not stand idly by and allow an innocent man to die. Enio, I would dispatch you and one of my knights to Witchdrop to forestall the proceedings until such time as I'm able to join you and petition Inquisitor Gulami in person. I will endeavor not to keep you waiting too long. Do whatever you must to keep Lord Francel alive. Hail, Enio. As you can see, Lord Francel yet lives. We must try to reason with the Inquisitor, but if his guards judge us as a threat, we must also be prepared to defend ourselves. Joaquin Charlemagne Francel de Helenarte, you stand accused of heresy against the Holy See of Isgard. Is there aught you wish to say in your defense? Okay, I need a drink of this. Hear me, brothers. These charges are false. The men and women of my line have ever opposed the Dravanians, and I am no different. Since the very birth of our nation, we have gladly shed blood in service to the Holy See. Condemn me, and you will strike a blow for the enemies of Isgard. It is for Halone to judge if you speak the truth. Prove your innocence in the eyes of gods and men. Leap from the cliff and entrust your fate to the Fury. The righteous shall take their place in Hallone's halls, while the wicked shall reveal their Trachtoum forms and be put to the sword. In the name of House Fortemps, I beseech you, stay your hand. Inquisitor, we are come on behalf of Lord Harshiphon. My lord has uncovered evidence which suggests that the charges against Lord Francel are without merit. We humbly request that these proceedings be suspended until such time as a full examination of the facts has been conducted. Lord Harshiphon has allowed his personal relationship with the accused to cloud his judgment. That he should harbor private doubts, I might have allowed, but that he would dare interfere in legal proceedings sanctioned by the Holy See, I cannot. To defy the will of an Inquisitor is to commit heresy, a crime for which there is but one punishment. We must hold them until Lord Harshiphon arrives, Enio. And remember, no harm can come to the Inquisitor. Oh, this is gonna be fun. Alright, just a couple more. I love this combo already. Oh, I forgot. There's only one more left. Alright, let's defeat this thing last. Okay, let's defeat this thing. Oh. Come on. Come on, die. Yeah, almost dead there. Yeah, now we defeat the wyvern. Oh, wait. Yeah, we're doing good. Last one, I hope. Yeah, that was a nice one. That was a nice way to end that. There's the Draconian Rosary. Just like that. Wow, we did it on our first try. Not too bad. It is not our intention to defy the will of the Archbishop. But this trial, like many others, I fear, has been orchestrated by enemies of the House Elernardi. They have used you and your fellows to sow discord, Inquisitor, to set brother against brother, that we may tear ourselves apart. The fevered imaginings of a desperate man. What proof have you of this? By the Fury, a Draconian Rosary. Then the knight who refused to yield, it was he who summoned the wyvern. A heretic in the ranks of the Temple Knights. This has grave implications. Your claims would appear to have merit, Lord Harshaphant. I shall withdraw my charges against Lord Francel, pending further investigation. I trust you have not lost sight of that which first brought you to Quertas, Enio. Pray locate your airship and use it. Lord Harshaphant, I have not the words to express my gratitude, but why would you risk your reputation to save mine? Because I know you, boy. You're too loyal to betray Ishgard, and too devout to question your sentence. Had we been any slower, you'd have jumped off your own free will. I would have done whatever it took to redeem House Harlinarde. Praise alone did not come to that, but it profits as little to dwell on what it might have been. Let us quit this place, Enio. Pray visit me at Camp Dragonhead once you have recuperated. You look well, Enio. May I say what a pleasure it was to fight alongside such a fearless and skillful warrior. Were it not for you, Lord Francel would surely have died defending the honor of his house, and I might have well perished at the hands of a heretic and his wyvern. House Fortemps and House Helinardi shall never forget your service. Now, let us return to the matter of your missing enterprise. The man with knowledge of the enterprise awaits you outside. I pray his information proves useful to you. How quickly the commoner's opinions change. They say Lord Francel is innocent now, but just a few days prior. Anyway, you were inquiring as to the whereabouts of an airship last seen in Quertas several days before the calamity, yes? Well, it so happens that I was monitoring the night sky at the observatorium during that period. I recall that a small vessel came from the direction of Granadia and landed near the Stone Vigil in the far northwest. The garrison almost certainly seized the vessel and brought it within their walls. If so, then you would need an army of knights to have any hope of securing it. Though Lord Harchefant is, from all indications, quite fond of you. So mayhap he can lend you a few. In any case, I have done my part. I shall pray for your success, friend. Oh, so you have at last located the Enterprise. I believe congratulations are in order. The Stone Vigil? Perhaps I spoke too soon. The outpost has been held by the dragons for years, and all access is restricted by decree of House Durandare. I will write a letter to Lord Drillimont of Vibrim Front and request that he grant you permission to enter. That said, I fear my influence alone will not suffice, so I suggest that you request Lord Francel do the same. Now that your business in Crampdragon has concluded, I suspect we may not meet again for some time. I wish you well in your journeys, Enio. May Helone guide you. Wonderful to see you again, Enio. If there's anything I can do to repay you, name it. So, the airship you seek is likely inside the Stone Vigil. It shames me to say that it too was once an outpost held by House Hylinardi. In the chaos that found the calamity, the Dravenian horde caught us unawares. The fiends have held the outpost ever since. As we lack the strength of arms to retake the Stone Vigil, House Durandare instead has been charged with the duty. Given that, I doubt that my words will carry much weight with Lord Drillimont. Nevertheless, I will write you your letter. Before you depart, a word of caution. The Cravens who attempted to destroy House Hylinardi have yet to be unmasked. Though their plans were foiled, they doubtless still harbor great hatred towards us, and towards you now as well. You desire an audience with Lord Drillimont, do you? I desire a night in a warm bed with my wife, but wishing won't make it so. What do we have here? Letters from Lord Harchefant and Francel, is it? A likely... Oh, you're serious. What to do? Your timing could not have been worse, traveler. Lord Drillimant's attentions are focused solely on the Stone Vigil at present. In any case, it is not my responsibility to escort visitors. Take your letters and show them to Sir Alboys. Yes, Sir Alboys can surely accommodate you. Seek her in the storeroom on the opposite side of the yard. Sir Bernadier bade you speak with me, did he? I know not why he presumed I would be in better position to help, but I assure you that he is mistaken. Lord Drillimont hasn't time to spend speaking with low-ranking knights such as I. However, he always has a moment to spare for head chirurgeon Astidine. Why not visit the infirmary upstairs and show your letters to him? Are you here to visit a patient, sir? What's this? Letters of introduction from House Fortemps and Hylinardi? With documents such as these, you don't need to seek an escort. Pray proceed to the barracks and speak with Sir Giordano. He should know Lord Drillimant's current whereabouts. What reason you have for barging into... Oh, I see. Well, you're in luck. Lord Drillimont is just up these stairs. Letters or no, though, I would not expect much. House Durandare as a whole does not hold adventurers in high regard. You had best state your intentions quickly and succinctly. Show proper respect, and it shall be returned in kind. Sir Giordano permitted your passage? Very well. Speak. You wish to brave a ruined outpost filled with scaleskin to secure an airship that may or may not be there? Are you the avatar of the Fury herself? We are the Scions of the Seventh Dawn, Lord Drillimont. You know our name, and you know our deeds. We are come to Quertas to slay Garuda, Lady of the Vortex. To that end, we seek the Enterprise, the airship of Master Sid Nunh Garland, who stands before you now. Master Garland? You're alive? But that's impossible. Indeed it is, my lord. Do not be deceived by their honeyed words. These foreigners are not to be trusted. As this critical moment in Ishgardian history, as House Durandar marshals its forces to retake the Stone Vigil, who should appear in Whitebeard front, but 3 mysterious strangers. Sid Garland, missing and presumed dead since before the calamity, and 2 Scions of the Seventh Dawn, a defunct band of misfits recently exterminated by the Empire. The lesser houses may have been duped by these grandiose lies, but I should hope that House Durandar would have greater sense. I know not why these 3 seek the Stone Vigil, but I know that we cannot permit them to pass. Thank you for your counsel, Inquisitor. For a moment, I nearly believed these mummers' farce. You 3 will not enter the outpost until we have reclaimed it, and until you declare your true intentions as well. It could be moons before House Durandar purges the dragons from the Stone Vigil. We cannot afford to wait that long. Sid, Enio, we must do whatever it takes to earn Lord Dillermon's trust. Understood? It's too good to be true. You, the lad responsible for that commotion upstairs? Aye. Word travels fast in Whitebeam front. Try that again. You, the lad responsible for that commotion upstairs? Aye. Word travels fast in Whitebeam front. I gather you still wish to change Lord Dillermon's mind? If there's one thing I've learned about the man in my time here, it's that he listens to and respects the opinions of those under his command. Win over the barracks, and he's sure to take notice. How, you ask? That's easy. Serve the poor souls decent fare for a change. The last few supply shipments contained no meat whatsoever, and the knights are rightfully beginning to complain. I'm thinking we could prepare them steaks using mud puppy tail meat. It wouldn't be quality meal, it's true, but it'd be a damn sight better than nothing. If you mind to lend a hand, why not await a lurking mud puppy in Danathan Pass and take this bottle of vinegar? Locals say it weakens mud puppies by clogging their mucus glands, drying their skin. Ooh. Oops, wrong key. Ooh, now this thing is tough to kill. Come on, we can do this. How about we do a shield bash? Alright, shield bash again. Oh, this thing gets stunned very easily. Alright, we got this. We got this. We got this. Keep it up. Come on. Shield bash. What are those things doing here? Oh. Okay. A lot of health points this thing has. Oh yeah, we almost got it. Come on, come on. There you go. Almost got it. Come on. Come here. Yeah, there we go. We did it. It didn't work? Did it? I thought it was an idiotic idea. Oh dear. Remind me to never wander near a mud puppy spawning grounds without a bottle of vinegar. Any road, this should only take a moment. I'll just need to do this, and voila! Never seen a man cook steaks that fast, have you? Take these 3 and distribute them to the hungry knights here and above. You there, lad. Don't think I didn't see you and the cook conspiring together. Let me make myself perfectly clear. If you wish to buy my trust with a steak, it would be my pleasure to oblige you. Yes, yes. I feel invigorated, refreshed, as if I have the strength of 10 men, and their wits besides. I should have no trouble concocting a new reason to refrain from sentry duty. We'll at least receive a hearty meal before we march off to die in this godforsaken waste. Is that a fresh cooked steak? Halone's blessings be upon you, my friend. Mud puppy meat or no, it's the most delicious food I've had in a fortnight. Ever must we train to maintain our skill at arms, yet never are we to receive proper sustenance? You are a godsend, my friend. Too few appreciate that House Durandare must do more than its fair share for the sake of Ishgard. Feels wonderful to see everyone in such high spirits. Amazing what good food can do for morale, eh? But I've forgotten about the hard-working chirurgians at the infirmary. So rarely do they take their meals here in the hall. Mind taking this steak to Sinota? She's doubtless so preoccupied with the health of her patients that she's neglected to attend to her own. Beg your pardon, sir, but I am busy attending to this man. I'll be with you in a moment. Is that... Come to think of it, it has been quite a while since I last ate. I suppose it wouldn't hurt to have a nibble. Oh my, this is fantastic! Thank you so much! I'll eat the rest right away. Might I have a word with you, Enio? It concerns the chirurgeons. After speaking with them earlier, I learned that they lack sufficient alembics for their needs, you see. So I used some of their broken equipment to craft a more advanced alembic, both as a gesture of goodwill and as a means to help me recover my memories, since working with my hands kindles familiar feelings. All I require to complete the device are the cores of 3 ice sprites. Though commonly used to reduce the temperatures of chemical mixtures, there is a way to alter their properties so that they draw the cold within rather than radiate without. It must sound ridiculous to you. Impossible even. Yet somehow I know it'll work. Have you tamed the cores? If so, please show them to me. What an amazing device! But is it truly an alembic, sir? I've never seen it like before. I too am unsure what to make of this machine. While certainly impressive, I have no idea how to make use of it. Nevertheless, if it is as effective as he claims, it will be a great boon to the infirmary. Think of the medicines we could create, the lives we could save. Even so, I wonder. Where the kindly stranger, bearer of gifts, wonders and strange, for this generosity comes at cost. Their earnest efforts are but a means to an as yet unknown end. Moreover, you should be wary of associating with individuals who have interfered with the questioning of a suspected heretic. They did what? Bless you, Inquisitor, for coming along when you did. We almost succumbed to the temptation proffered by these unbelievers. Why does that man detest us so? Is it all because we interrupted Lord Francel's trial? Whatever his reasons, he clearly means to oppose us at every turn. Before we can persuade Lord Dirlemont to help us, it seems we must convince Inquisitor Gulami that we are not his enemy. But just how might we go about doing that? We know little and less about the good Inquisitor, despite him being such a prominent figure in Quertas. Perhaps we should learn more by speaking with the people of Whitebrim Front. Share your findings with Alfin out in the square. I'm sure he can formulate a strategy from there. Inquisitor Gulami? Yes, of course I know of him. Alas, I have not seen him since the day he came to Whitebrim Front, several moons ago. My memory is somewhat muddled, but I recall that a blizzard nearly buried us in snow that day, and I had the ill fortune of being assigned to that night's watch. While the stronghold slept, we walked the walls and patrolled the exterior in a darkness black as pitch. My route took me outside the eastern gate at one point, where I caught sight of a silhouette illuminated by the light of the city. Thinking it was a wayward traveler, I cried out and gave chase, but slipped and took a terrible fall. When I woke, it was days later in this very bed, where I have lain recuperating from my injuries ever since. I have tried to rescue him, but in the end, Inquisitor Gulami rescued me, carrying my unconscious body to the gates. I owe him my life, sir, and I hope to one day repay his kindness. Under Inquisitor Gulami's watchful gaze, unprecedented numbers of heretics have been unmasked and brought to justice. They say he goes days without sleep. So great is his devotion. Blessed are we to have such a goodly, righteous man to protect us. The Holy See has decreed that the Inquisitors are the arbiters of Howlon's will. They are to be afforded every courtesy and the utmost respect. Inquisitor Gulami, I am at the foggiest of whom you speak, unbeliever. Aye, we have learned of your deeds at Witchdrop. I will not be party to whatever dastardly schemes you've hatched against the Inquisitor. Away with you! In case you have yet to notice, my attire is ill-suited to this climate. I realized it soon after our arrival, but paid it no mind as I had hoped we might find the Enterprise far faster. Instead, we wasted far too much time meddling in local affairs. Never mind. Our journey is almost at an end. All that remains is to deal with this irksome Inquisitor. Sid tells me you have been busy making inquiries, yes? It should come as no surprise that he is held in high regard. Even so, I am beginning to suspect he has other reasons for hindering us now. Let us more closely review the testimonies you obtained, Enio. Mayhap they will provide insight to Inquisitor Gulami's motivations. Something troubles me about that wounded knight's account. I know, Dexys, I know. I'm not going to be playing this game again until next week, because I have to go through these sessions and have to edit the videos together. I will, don't you worry. Something troubles me about that wounded knight's account. He claims he fell chasing a figure in the darkness that he saw outside the eastern gate. Yes, but the main road leads to the southwestern gate. Since we've arrived in Whitebrim Front, I've seen no travelers arrive at the eastern gate. Moreover, he said he glimpsed a silhouette illuminated by the light of the city, which would imply that the Inquisitor came from north of the Eastern Gate, not south. But it cannot be so. That way lies naught but a deep chasm. Assuming Giorgio is not misremembering, the Inquisitor's behavior that night makes absolutely no sense, at least to me. Mayhap retracing his steps will shed light on this mystery. Oh, come on. No. Come on. Oh yeah, we got it this time. Yeah, we got it this time. Yeah, we got it. Ooh. You found something, didn't you? Well, don't keep me waiting in suspense. Let's see it. Given the contents of this encyclical, I believe you have just made the acquaintance of the real Inquisitor Gulami. Newly come to Quertas and murdered on the day of his arrival. Yes, it would have been a simple thing to assume his identity, for even if he were to behave oddly, who would dare question the wisdom of a papal appointment? Still, while this is incontrovertible proof that the Inquisitor is an impostor, we have yet to discern his true identity, or why he has decided to oppose us. We must proceed quickly, Enio, before he learns that his deception has been discovered. Since Lord Delermont has already been turned against us, I fear that his encyclical alone will not serve to convince him of our claims. But what might persuade a man so quick to disregard the endorsements of two high houses? The cook did say that the Lord listens to you and respects the opinions of his knights. If a certain knight were to provide testimony that supports our claim, yes, mayhap that is the only way left to us. Confront Sir Gelo with the evidence you discovered and see if it helps him to recall the truth of that night. As a man of fate, he may find it difficult to cope with just a horrifying revelation. Nevertheless, we must do everything within our power to secure the Enterprise. Oh, you have returned. Is there something else you wanted to ask? The Inquisitor is an impostor? Don't be preposterous. That could not possibly be true. He's a paragon of virtue, a dedicated servant of the Fury. You would have me believe that is all a lie? If you are so certain that your ludicrous story is true, then go and speak with Sir Pernilla. She was at the Eastern Gate that night, and she helped the Inquisitor carry me here. But I will never speak against the man who saved my life. You! I do not believe I know you, sir. Pray move along and trouble me no more. Are you in the habit of handing bloody documents to strangers? Why would you show me such a dreadful thing? I know naught of it. Not at all. You know, don't you? Fury take me. I prayed this day would come. When Sir Gelo gave chase, I followed close behind. He didn't fall. One of those Dravanian abominations lashed out at him, nearly killed him right then and there. I drew my sword and rushed to his side, straining to see the enemy. But what came from the dark was not a beast, but a voice. He knew things about me, about my family, secrets I had never told another. He said that if I kept his confidence, Sergio and I would be spared. But if I defied him, everyone I loved would suffer unimaginable horrors before they died. When at last I agreed to his terms, the man came forward. His robes marked him as an Inquisitor, but I knew him to be false. Together, we carried Sir Jolo to the infirmary, and on his first night in White Beam Front, Inquisitor Gulami was heralded as a hero. Soon after came the accusations. Countless men and women of good moral standing seized while in possession of draconian rosaries. As I feared, he was condemning the innocent to death. I wanted to confess to Lord Drillamont, wanted to put an end to the madness, but then I would remember the Inquisitor's threats. So I did nothing, until Lord Francel was accused. Some time ago, I followed the Inquisitor and found that he kept draconian rosaries in a chest hidden southeast of White Beam Front. So I took several from his chest and planted them in shipments bound for Skyfire locks. As I hoped, they were discovered and considered evidence of a conspiracy against House Helinarde, thus exonerating Lord Francel and casting doubt on the other recent trials. And that is the entire truth, I swear. Halloween, forgive me for not acting sooner. Why do you persist in this folly? I will not grant you 3 access to the Stone Vigil. Do not make me repeat myself. There had better be a very good explanation for why you were carrying these rosaries. And where did you find this papal encyclical? Fury take me. The Inquisitor is a heretic? Never before have I heard such an unbelievable tale. But this evidence and your testimony could have no other explanation. I have misjudged you and your friends, Enio, and for that I deeply apologize. I will permit you to enter the outpost, but first I must needs beg your assistance. Help me and my knights bring this infernal impostor to justice. That thrice-damned heretic has murdered countless innocents and have made a mockery of our laws. Else take him and his Dravanian allies. I am told he makes for a snow clock even now, intending to pass judgment upon yet another poor soul whom he has branded heretic. If we hurry, there may still be time to prevent further tragedy. Lend me your strength, Enio. Together, let us put an end to this impostor's heresy once and for all. Good to have you with us, sir. When Lord Drillamont arrives, we are to confront the Inquisitor. If he refuses to go quietly, we will need to use force. Are you prepared for that eventuality? You need tremble so, my child. The righteous shall enjoy everlasting peace in Hallown's halls. Only the wicked... But why? Why must I die? By all that is holy, I swear to you I have never questioned the teaching of Hallown. Inquisitor, release the maid and come with us. My Lord Drillamont, what is the meaning of this interruption? You are aware that I am at present conducting an interrogation, are you not? Silence, villain! I name thee heretic, murderer of Inquisitor Gulami and countless innocents. You are a traitor to Ishgard, to your own kith and kin. Your sins are beyond measure, beyond redemption. Grave allegations indeed, but you will find your logic is flawed. How can I betray that which I owe no allegiance? No, Lord Drillamont, my conscience is quite clear, I assure you. I wonder, can you say the same? You whose hands are black with the blood of those whose only sin was to question your nation's crazed crusade. You speak to me of Ishgardian innocence? Ha! All are complicit in these crimes, for all live their lives by the Archbishop's lies. But I know you will not hear me, deafened by dogma as you are. If you desire retribution, Lord Driddlemont, then come, let us see how Ishgardian steel fares against Travania Fang and Claw. Come on, we can do this. Oh yeah, do you think we got the heals going? One more. Yeah, we did it. Yes, we did it. My glamours dispelled. Your plans lie in ruin, heretic. Choose your words wisely, for they will be your last. You may not recall the many Ishgardians I have sentenced, but the families of the dead will never forget. Blood has been repaid with blood, and for that I am content. My only regret is that you yet live. But your end is nigh, foreigner. The dragons within the stone vigil will rend you asunder, and when you are dead, Francel shall fall. Defiant to the last. Leave the body for the crows. His ilk deserves not better. Isn't he still breathing? Enio, I must apologize for involving you in this sordid business. You should never have been asked to intervene in Ishgardian's affair of state. Rest assured, I have not forgotten the matter which first brought you into our midst. It is past time that you were reunited with your airship. But this is not the place to discuss such matters. Pray visit me at Front, and bring your associates. Where have you been, Enio? The false Inquisitor has been slain. Has he? Yes, well, his was a tale always like to end in bloodshed. Though you have overcome the latest in a long line of unfortunate impediments, I would ask you not to revel in your victory just yet. We can celebrate once we have secured the Enterprise. As I am sure you will agree, it is past time we entered the Stone Vigil. Pay Lord Driddlemont a visit and remind him of his obligation to us. Sid and I will follow anon. We owe you all a great debt of gratitude. Had it not been for you, the heretic masquerading as Inquisitor Gulami would still be among us, free to prey upon the innocent. I see now that I was a fool to dismiss your claims out of hand, but you must understand, it seemed too much to hope that the Scions of the Seven Dawn still lived, to say nothing of Master Garland. Never have I been happier to be proven wrong. Well, it is gratifying to know that someone has derived a measure of enjoyment from your error. Now, if you have no further objections, we would appreciate it if you would permit us to enter the Stone Vigil and retrieve our airship. Yes, of course. It is the very least I can do, given all that you have done for us. But entering the outpost is the least of your concerns, I fear. You speak of the Dravanians that now hold the ruin. In part, yes. I should explain. Shortly after you first arrived, I had my men scour the old records. They confirmed that an abandoned airship had been seized by the soldiers garrisoned at the Stone's Vigil in the days following the calamity. As far as we've been able to ascertain, it was still in their custody when the outpost was overrun by the dragons. Whether it was damaged or destroyed during the battle, I cannot say. Nor can I give you any assurances that it has not been removed in the intervening years. For far too long, the ruin has served as a Dravanian foothold in Quertas, from which they have struck out at us with depressing regularity. Though we have pushed them back behind the walls, we have as yet been unable to drive them out, and I cannot say when the situation will change. Or how it will change. Forgive me, Lord Durlamont, but there's no guarantee that you will prevail. In any event, we have no time to wait. We have not the time to wait. We will secure our property without Ishgardian aid. I see. Well, that may be for the best. I will inform Sir Natalin of your impending visit. May Halone guide you, scions. So here we go. We get to do with the dungeon that we've been waiting for. Hail, Enio! Lord Durlamont has apprised me of the situation. You may enter the Stone Vigil. When's over, you will. Alright, here we go. Dungeon time. Cutscene. Look, it's the Enterprise. Yes, just beyond that enormous sleeping dragon. The dragon is not our concern. We have come for the airship, and only the airship. Sid, you and I will sneak aboard the Enterprise and prepare for launch. Enio, you stay here and keep an eye on the beast. If it wakes, we may need you to provide a distraction until ready to depart. You can manage that, can you? That settles it then, shall we, Sid? As you command. So, you mean to slay Garuda next? Interesting. Most interesting. And you are aware that her strength greatly exceeds that of your previous primal conquest, a testament to the fanatical devotion of our followers. The Exile are nothing if not zealous. In spite of your past achievements, I labor to believe that you'll best this foe. Yet only a fool would underestimate the great bringer of light, slayer of Ifrit, bane of Titan. If any mortal is capable of defeating the Lady of the Vortex, it is you. Win or lose, the battle should at least make for an entertaining spectacle, assuming, of course, you live that long. Bring it on. Clean out the dragon! Confound it all. Okay, here we go. Let us see how well your blasphemous gifts serve you this time, Crystal Bearer. Almost got it. Let's hold this position unless there's gonna be another aerial attack. Oh, one more pattern we have to avoid. What do we get this time? Don't. Okay. Avoid those surfaces. Oh, watch out for that. There we go. Let's go after this. Come on. Come on. We're almost done here. We almost got you. Yes, we did it. Level up. Yes. Yes. We did it. That felt satisfying after all that. Ooh, we're getting close to the end. We get another crystal, and after that, one more. That leaves us with one more. Enio, are you alright? Speak to me. "12 be praised. I feared the beast had injured you. I see now why the others rated you so highly. When you were caught in the midst of that etheric bubble with the dragon, I was all but certain my next mission would be to find a new champion. Thank the gods for sparing me that inconvenience. I have quite enough to do already. Which reminds me, Sid is working on the Enterprise as we speak. Let us go and see what he has to say." What say you, Sid? Will she fly? Yes, though it will not be a pleasant ride. Well, I dare say it'll be no more unpleasant than staying here. It's a pity that the Enterprise is not in a better state. But if you allow us to quit this place, I shall not complain. If all are in agreement, let us return to Grenadier. I would like nothing more than to set course for the Howling Eye. It is plain the Enterprise is in no condition to weather the storm. She must needs be repaired if we are to proceed with our mission. This is all so familiar. I know this airship. If I could just... it's no use. Let's go. Ah, how have I longed for the more agreeable climate of the 12's wood. Yet while not denied the Holy See had its charms. Endless detours aside, our guardian John proved quite an adventure. Alas, our work is far from done. We still have an airship to repair and a primal to slay. No rest for the heroic, eh? Okay, I'm gonna see you guys next time. And thank you so much for supporting the show, guys. I really do. All right, thank you so much, guys. Stay safe.